Whoa, can I help you?
Potato Man.
Where the hell have you been?
Once upon a time, a scandal would shake the foundations of American politics, not based on teapot domes, or affairs, or whatever this one did this week. This was based on political espionage, break-ins, and lies upon lies upon lies. This was the Watergate scandal. First, we must discuss Richard Milhous Nixon. Originally serving as vice president to Eisenhower for both his terms, he attempted to run for president in 1960, narrowly losing to JFK. He would blame perceived media bias for his loss. However, he would try again in 1968, and win. However, he was still unsatisfied, particularly with those he considered enemies. These included the anti-war movement, Democrats, the press, even the judicial system. He kept the US involved in Vietnam despite its growing unpopularity, and his campaign promise to pull US troops out, aggressively expanded the war on drugs in order to harm the political supporters of his opponents, and even set up a task force known as the White House Plumbers to stop any leaks to the press. These plumbers soon found their quote-unquote responsibilities expanded as they became part of the CREEP group, otherwise known as the Committee to Re-elect the President. They would infiltrate opposition campaign groups and events, forged damaging letters, resorted to blackmail, and even stole shoes of campaign workers. These tactics seemed to be working well for Nixon in the lead-up to the 1972 election. Then, his creeps overplayed their hand. On the evening of the 17th of June, 1972, at the Democratic National Committee at the Watergate offices, just a mile, or 2.2 kilometers, from the White House, 5 men were caught breaking into one of the offices. These 5 men were quickly connected to E. Howard Hunt, an ex-CIA operative and member of the Creeps and Nixon's plumbers. Hunt was then linked to Charles Colson, special counsel to Nixon. This link was then leaked to the media, and the true extent of the scandal began to unfold. Whether or not Nixon ordered this break-in is up for debate. What is certain, however, are the subsequent actions he took. First, he denied that anyone from his staff were involved in any way. Then he ordered his lawyer, John Dean, to cover up the White House's connection to the Watergate break-in. In late July, roughly 6 weeks after the break-in, he had told his chief of staff, Bob Haldeman, to pay off the burglars and their leaders. Thus, the cover-up began. Nixon was lucky enough to win re-election despite the growing scandal, and by a wide margin no less. But the scandal was still unfolding, and the consequences would be dire. Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein of the Washington Post worked tirelessly to find the links between everyone involved, and did so by following the money to a slush fund to pay for these illegal activities. The White House, naturally, denied the claims and criticized the reporters. Woodward and Bernstein relied heavily on a source, codenamed Deep Throat. His information was vital, but he was so ingrained in the White House that he couldn't even be quoted anonymously. He would eventually be revealed as FBI Associate Director Mark Felt. The cracks were also showing in more obvious places. In early 1973, when FBI Director Patrick Gray testified that he was told to keep the White House abreast of the Watergate investigations, and even confirmed that John Dean, Nixon's lawyer, probably lied to investigators. By the middle of 1973, one of the burglars, James McCord, sent a letter confessing that multiple government organizations had been involved. John Dean also began cooperating with the Watergate prosecutors and was fired by Nixon. Patrick Gray resigned as FBI director after it was revealed that he had destroyed documents relating to the case. A string of White House officials also resigned. The hearings were being regularly televised. Things only got worse for Nixon when former Presidential Appointments Secretary Alexander Butterfield revealed that Nixon, in his paranoia, had been taping every conversation in the Oval Offices since early 1971. This meant that these tapes likely hear Nixon and his plumbers discussing the multiple illegal activities, not just Watergate. Nixon refused to comply with the subpoenas for those tapes. On the 20th of October 1973, Nixon ordered his Attorney General and his Deputy Attorney General to fire the special prosecutor investigating him. They refused. So, Nixon fired him anyway, and the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General both resigned in protest. Nixon later went to the press and famously said this:
that I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Because, of course, innocent men always try to remove anyone investigating them. In March of 1974, 7 officials of Nixon's administration were indicted. In July, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered that the tapes be handed over, which they were, but there were 18 minutes of tape mysteriously gone. Nixon's secretary, Rosemary Woods, says it was an accident from some time ago, but there is great doubt over that claim. In August, however, another tape was leaked, which was recorded a few days after the initial break-in. It directly incriminated Nixon and showed without a doubt that he ordered the cover-up that started the investigation and exposed so much corruption within his administration. On the 9th of August, Nixon resigned and departed by helicopter with his wife. His replacement, former Vice President Gerald Ford, pardoned him. 48 government officials were found guilty for aiding the cover-up. Press Secretary Ronald Zeiger would apologize to Washington Post journalists who initially investigated. Nixon would maintain innocence until his death in 1994. In 1977, during an interview with David Frost, he would infamously say, "When the president does it, it's not illegal." Goodbye everyone, and don't forget to...
take it sleazy.